I'm going to mix up 3 pigments, a yellow, a red, and a blue, each one in a separate cup. And then we're going to wet the paper and pour all 3 at the same time. So I'm just waiting for that little bit of mask to dry. And I don't know, Pam, I took some time last night and put this on ahead of time, but I'm going to do a little bit of masking, maybe along on here, and just so you can see me going through that process. And I won't make it a big spot because it does take a long time to dry. Well, not a long time, but longer than you have. And I usually pour this liquid stuff that smells like ammonia into another container because I'm always afraid I'm going to spill this. And also it has a very limited shelf life, and you need to make sure that it is airtight because you want to create a vapor lock, and I put it upside down. During class, we took their mask and we put it in one of those little film cans with a lid on it. And that works beautifully. So if you have a photographer friend, you might want to ask him for those leftover film cans because they're getting very rare.
That's true.
Yeah. So nobody uses film anymore. And then I have one of these cocktail cups, and it has a piece of masking tape on it. And that's because I'm only going to use this water for masking. Because once you put the mask in on your brush and put it in here, you're really putting little tiny pieces of mask in your water, and you don't want to use it for painting. And then in this cup, I put just soap and a little bit of water, liquid soap, because when you use your brush, you want to create almost like a film across that brush so this mask does not damage the brush. And this one is made especially for masking by Cheap Joe, and it's called the Ugly Brush. And it's very reasonable, it's only like $2. And it's a darn good brush, but don't use it for anything but masking. Okay, so we'll put it in soap. Put it in here, and then we'll just take this. Now remember, this is a film can. Got to use your imagination here. Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit of this. Let's see here. Where do I want to put it, guys? Let's put just a little bit. And I'm not going to do much because, as I say, I don't want to have you be too patient.
Do you put it on the lighter areas?
Yes, I'm going to put this on here, honey, just once I show you how to mask, and I think you've had enough of that nonsense for now. We'll do it again later. You put it on the whites, and I thought I had I'm going to pour today with Carve Yellow, which is an American Journey color. Cheap Joe, likes to name his pigments after people. He hasn't named anything after me yet, but I'm a little afraid he might. Okay, so let's put this yellow. It's a nice yellow. It's more like an Indian yellow. How much are we going to put in here? As much as we need. If it was a big painting, we'd put in a lot more, wouldn't we? My people who are very particular about that kind of thing say, well, how many ounces is that? Is it about the size of a toothbrush, a toothpaste thing? How much is that? And I really don't know. I just squeeze out as much as I think I'm going to need. And I always squeeze out more of the yellow because it's your light value. So we'll just have a little test here. What value is yellow?
Light.
What value is red?
Medium.
Okay, and what value is blue?
Dark.
Light blue. So you've got the whole range of values there. But we know that if you squeeze out red, it's never going to get any darker than the one that comes out of the tube, right? Because what you do with watercolor is you add water to it. And that makes it lighter, right? Okay. So we've got a light value, a mid-tone, and now we're going to do the dangerous dark color. Phthalo blue. Are you ready for phthalo blue? Well, I don't need that much phthalo blue, guys. Because that can make a statement really easily. Okay, and you folks might remember, some of you, making gravy. We don't make gravy anymore because it hardens our arteries. And I'm gonna put just a little bit in like that, like you were going to start to make gravy, and you're gonna make a roux. And remember making the roux, gals? Do I have a volunteer to mix my yellow for me? I'm not used to you being so far away. And I don't dare come down to you because I'll be sure I'll fall on the stairs. But anyway, I'll mix it for you. And if you've all got any...
You got a volunteer. You've got a
Where?
volunteer. Right here.
Oh, okay. Pam, yeah. There you go, Pam. Thank you. Who wants to do red? Mine is bad up here. I hope you know that. I can't. My environment is a big secret to me. Okay. All right. Where did you get the tub? Okay. I will probably spill my paint, okay? So be prepared for me to spill my paint. One there, one there. Okay, we'll let that little doggy rest on there. The first thing we gotta do, children in the class, is wet your paper.
I'm gonna say that.
Okay. I did not stretch this paper ahead of time. I've got it stapled down, but I didn't stretch it. Because being a quarter sheet, I didn't worry about it buckling so much. But I generally stretch even quarter sheets at home.
And in class.
Pardon?
And in class.
And in class. It's got a lot of sizing on it, you know, interior and exterior sizing. So the first go around, it likes to resist the pigment, so I want to make sure I get in here really well. And you want to use a soft brush, because you don't want a harsh brush making any kind of indentation in your paint, in your paper. Another thing I forgot to bring was my Kleenex. And I've got some paper towels here, somewhere. Here they are. I'm just going to clean the water off the edges here. And I do pour the paints at this point in order, starting with yellow. And people always say, well, do you know what you're doing? Do you know where you want that color to go? I say, oh, not so much. I just pour it on. Pour it on.
So your surface is flat at this point?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
But later on, you'll see I don't do flat.
Okay.
I do tipped. Took me a couple years to realize I could tip. This is alizarin crimson, by the way. We've been pouring a different color. You see that value right there? It won't get any darker than that, and will be somewhat lighter, actually. Wow, that is dark. I'm running out of water. You can see it's very scientific. Now, if you feel that that blue is too cool, which obviously it is, it's a cool color, you can always pour the red on top of it.
Yeah, she's doing it.
Yeah, she's right there.
Now, how are we going to get rid of all that paint? We've got to think, okay, we've got to pour it off. It's not ever going to get any darker than that. So we're going to have to pick a direction. You know what I think I'm going to do before I do that? I think I'm going to put a little more yellow up in here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pour this off in a diagonal movement. No, I'm not. I'm not going to pour it off in a diagonal movement. I'm allowed to change my mind. Because if I did that, all of this would go down over the yellow. And I don't want to lose all that yellow. not a green person. I'm not real fond of green at all. And you can get a nice movement in your painting. The faster you pour off, the more movement you're going to get in it. Now see that little spot right there? The teacher did not do a good job of wetting her paper. No, she did not. What do you think? Isn't that fun? Your dog has a green nose. Do we care? No. Skies are yellow, trees are blue, water's yellow. Who cares? Anybody can paint blue sky. I'm getting a little granulation, and I don't know whether it's from the car yellow or maybe from that particular red. You want to keep it a little bit, well, maybe not that elevated. And remember I put in that little piece right there for you just to show you how to mask, that little chunk right there? If you go too dark too soon, you won't be able to produce any light midtones or darks. So this is your first go around and not any darker than this. Yellow is just a beautiful glow, really, really nice. The face is not glowing, but the reason I'm not too concerned is I know I have to go darker in there because I don't know if you remember the first picture I showed you, but the eyes and the little nose are quite dark. So we know we're going to have to keep pouring more values on that. Try not to dab on the painting itself. Dab on the mat. Mask if you have to mask. And if you happen to wash your hair just before you do this, you may have to use a thirsty brush. Oh, how dirty that thirsty brush is. Oh well. And pick up some of those hairs that fall off your head. You can do that with your thirsty brush, and you can suck up some of that extra pigment on there too. Okay. You get things that happen by pouring you can't get any other way. And it's always a surprise. Maybe sometimes not a good surprise, but it's always a surprise. And I tell my students, you've got to learn to let go of preconceived ideas. And let the paint do what it wants to do. That's the beauty of watercolor. Just let it paint itself. Okay, now I'm not sure where my mat is. Our next step is going to get another one of these paintings out, and we'll put some mask on one of those, and we'll pour a little darker. That's really kind of neat, you know what? He's got little hearts, or she's got little hearts on her thing here. Okay. Pam, darling, do you want to try and draw? Your control really is your value study. And see if I can find time I was teaching, and I had them put up their value studies. They were beautiful. Because it takes color out of the, I know it's shining pretty bad for you, it takes color out of it, and so you're just dealing with the most important attribute of color, which is value. So once you look at this, you would know immediately what you were going to mask out right there. See it? That's your lightest value. And then it freed me up to just go ahead and do my goats. I know that's a shine on there for you. But we'll put everything down there later, and you can. I worked very hard to pour that because I poured red there, and then I had to pour away from it with the blue, and so I had to tip it like that, clean my edge off, tip it like that, pour on here, so I got that. I could save that in there. It might be whites you're saving, It might be a light value, it might be a mid value, but you put that mask on and it saves it. And this is sort of the way I plan my paintings. Let's get the first one here. You have an action line. Here's your format, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the fifth line is your action line into the painting. And then you assign a shape to everything. And then the shapes become values, like this. It's easy, isn't it? Say yes.
Yes.
I like to pour as long as possible because I like to avoid taking up a regular brush and doing that nitpicking, you know, that going too far business. Okay. If you pour warm on warm, it will stay vibrant. If you pour cool on cool, it will stay vibrant. But if you want to take it down where it's a little less vibrant, then you would, of course, take cool and put it on warm and warm on cool. So, let me show you. Let's see what happens with this. That green is so thick, it doesn't even want to pour. Ooh. No cuts, no glory. I think this is all pretty well masked out here. Like that. It will be gone soon. And disappear into the mist. This is that permanent magenta. It's a little opaque. Ooh, that was pretty. That was pretty. Gone now. Never to be seen again.
Do you ever use all that paint that's in the tub to pour?
No.
No?
No.
Why?
Why would I want to pour that?
It's dark.
Oh, but it's not a good dark, and it has the lighter lights in it. It would not be good. It would not be good, honey. I promise. I'm going to keep this vertical. Are you still with me?
Uh-huh.
He's got a green snout now. So, not just a green nose, but a green snout. So, a very strange looking little dog. You know George James?
Yes.
I wish I had a spray bottle. He has the neatest trick where when it's not shiny anymore, he sprays it up in the air. You know, he spritzes the water in the air, then he holds the painting underneath it. Instead of, you know, holding it like this and spraying. And it's like raindrops on it. Yeah. Pretty cool. Okay, troopers. Remember those were masked out. And after everything is done, we come to the really difficult part. Anybody know what that is?
Taking the mask off.
Yes. That's when we cuss and fume and all that. Now, I can't take it off there, can I?
No.
It's too wet. Right?
Right.
Okay. So I'm gonna see if I can get it off here for you and just show you how well it does come off. Unless you leave it in the car for 4 days, or in the attic for 3 months. Okay. I don't think I brought a rubber cement pickup either. Well, I didn't bring everything I need. What can I say? You should be able to grasp this by its edge here, right here's. See how nicely that comes off? And you could actually make one of these.
Yeah, I was gonna say mine did.
When you do these paintings, there's a tendency for them to look like woodcuts. And since I'm a printmaker, I like that. So it's a little different, and the way some of you think. But it relates very well to batik. And as I say, printmaking, woodcuts.
Is it okay to water down the mascoid a little?
I don't, because I use fresh mask and it doesn't need watering down. So, I don't like watering it down because I'm afraid I'll never get it off. That's a big issue, getting this stuff off.
Yeah, I've done that before too.
Okay, so there he is with one mask and one pour. So that'll give you an idea. And then for your second one, obviously you leave the mask on and then you go back in and find the next darkest value, excuse me. Okay, and here he is here. And for the direct painting with a brush, I went in here and I did his red collar, his little tongue, a little bit in here, and then I did washouts where I took some letters and numbers and I was able to wash out just those little accents in there. So, anybody got any questions other than avoiding hard edges? What you can do, and we talked about this, if I have a hard edge, and I know this didn't work for the gentleman I was talking to, but what I do is I take masking tape, say this edge got too hard, and I put mask on each side of it, masking tape on each side of it, and I just wash it across there softly with a sponge and blend it a little bit. So there are ways you can do that, but I kind of like that, not hard edge look, but kind of a graphic design look. So, any questions from anybody? Because that's probably all we're going to have time for. It's 8:45. And I'm ready for bed.